Whoa, okay, so you want to buy a Las Vegas casino. Buy the building, hire the dealers, watch the chips come in. But here's the part nobody tells you. A casino is the only legal business on earth where the math guarantees you a profit on every single dollar that crosses the felt. And Las Vegas is also the city where the smartest, richest operators in the world have gone bankrupt trying to run one. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how a guaranteed mathematical edge still isn't enough to guarantee a fortune, how the Strip actually makes its money on the inside, and why a Las Vegas casino isn't really the business most people think it is. Vegas casinos come in three sizes, and they are three completely different businesses. The smallest is the locals casino, the kind built off the Strip in Henderson or Summerlin to catch the neighborhood, not the tourist. Those run $40 to $150 million. For that, you get a modest casino floor, a bowling alley or a movie theater to keep the locals loyal, and a parking lot full of regulars showing up after their shift to lose $60 on video poker before dinner. Step up and you get the Mid-Strip Legacy Resort. New York opened in 1997 for $460 million, a themed hotel casino built to compete directly with the giants next door. Real theming, a real hotel tower, tourists walking over from the sidewalk instead of driving in from the suburbs. Then there's the modern mega resort, where the price tag stops making sense entirely. Resorts World Las Vegas opened in 2021 for $4.3 billion, the most expensive resort ever built on the Strip. Its own hotel brands stacked inside one tower, an indoor-outdoor pool deck, a domed theater built for residencies. And that's before a single card gets dealt, a single room gets booked, or a single slot machine gets plugged in. But the building is just the entry fee. Two more costs nobody warns you about. The first is the license. Nevada's application fee alone can run from $7,500 to $75,000, but that's the smallest number on the page. The background investigation run by the Nevada Gaming Control Board digs into every business partner, every source of funding, every country your money has touched, and can climb past $300,000 before you've opened a single door. Past that, and you still owe a quarterly fee based on your gross gaming revenue, graduated as high as 6.75%. A casino pulling in $10 million a year can pay $500,000 just to keep the lights legally on. Compare that to New York, where simply applying for a downstate license costs tens of millions with no guarantee of ever getting one. Or Macau, where the government issues exactly 6 concessions for the entire city, and the next round of bidding doesn't open until 2032. Nevada, by comparison, has approved thousands of licenses since 1931. Vegas didn't win the casino wars by being cheap. It won by being the one place on the planet that made getting into the game merely expensive instead of nearly impossible. Now the question that actually matters. Where does the money come from? Every game on the Strip is mathematically rigged, not in a cheating sense. The cards are real, the wheel is honest, the dice are clean. It's the rules that are rigged. The industry has a name for this, the house edge. And every casino game is just a different version of the same trick. Picture a coin flip. Heads, you win $1. Tails, I win $1. Fair bet, 0 edge. Now I change one rule. Heads still pays you $1, but tails, I take $1 and a nickel. Same coin, same flip. But now, every time we play, on average, I keep 5 cents. Meaningless on one flip, catastrophic over 1 million of them. That 5 cents is the house edge, and every wheel on the Strip is built the same way. Walk onto any Vegas roulette table and you will find a 00, an extra pocket that pushes the house edge from 2.7% up to 5.26%. The player cannot feel the difference. The math notices every single spin. But roulette isn't where the real money lives on the Strip. It's slots. Slot machines run a house edge anywhere from 5% to 15%, and here's the part that breaks people's brains. The cheaper the machine, the worse the odds. Penny slots, the ones Grandma feeds her coins into for an afternoon, run some of the highest edges in the entire building. Per dollar wagered, she is statistically the most profitable customer on the floor, worth more to the casino than the high roller playing blackjack at 0.5% edge. Strip slot machines alone pull in billions of dollars a year, more than every table game on the floor combined. That's why the walk from a strip hotel's parking garage to the elevators is never a straight line. It bends through the casino floor, past rows of machines, every single time, on purpose, and why the machines closest to the doors are often tuned looser than the ones buried deep inside. Which brings us to the architecture. You've probably stood on a casino floor before. Notice what's missing? No windows, no clocks. The carpet patterns are designed to pull your eyes up toward the machines, not toward the exit sign. The industry calls this engineered immersion. The goal isn't to win your money once, it's to keep you inside with no sense of time until the math has enough hours to do its work. And then there's the single most effective loyalty program ever built, the Players Club card. Insert it, and from that second forward, every bet you place is tracked. The casino calculates your theoretical loss, what the math says you'll lose over an evening, and hands back 5 to 10% of it as free rooms, free meals, free drinks, sometimes a free show. They aren't losing that money, they're investing it, buying more hours of your exposure to the edge. At the top of that pyramid sit the whales. A fraction of a percent of all casino customers generate a hugely outsized share of total revenue, and Vegas has produced some of the most extreme examples in gambling history. In 2007, an Omaha businessman named Terrence Watanabe became a fixture at Caesars Palace and the Rio. Over the course of that single year, he wagered more than $825 million and lost $127 million of it. At one point, Harrah's Entertainment, which owned both casinos, pulled 5.6% of its entire Las Vegas gaming revenue from Watanabe alone. One man, 1 year. More than 5 cents of every gambling dollar the company made on the Strip. He'd already been barred from the win for his own protection. Caesars and the Rio kept the doors open anyway and comped him a Rolling Stones tour, a custom vodka flown in on request, a credit line that kept climbing higher. The relationship later ended in a lawsuit, but Watanabe's year on the tables remains one of the largest personal gambling losses ever recorded. Why did the casinos keep the doors open? Because the math always wins eventually, and the whale almost always comes back. So here's the entire Strip revenue model in one sentence. Edge times handle times hours times repeat visits. Every fountain, every free drink, every mile of carpet in the building exists to push one of those 4 numbers higher. With math like that, why does a Las Vegas casino ever lose money? Because the math is only the top line. Out of every dollar of gaming revenue, 70 to 80 cents disappears before you see a dime of profit. A typical Strip resort runs a 25 to 33% net margin. So $1 billion in revenue nets you $250 to $330 million if everything else goes right. Payroll eats close to 1/3 of it. A single mega resort employs several thousand people, from dealers and housekeepers to chefs and stagehands. Nevada's gaming tax takes its 6.75% off the top. Then there's the cost of simply being a casino. A surveillance operation watching every table, every cashier, every parking spot, around the clock, with a department that does nothing else. Fresh decks swapped onto every table every few hours to prevent marking. Enough physical cash sitting on site to require its own dedicated insurance policy and armored logistics. And then there's catastrophe. In 1980, an electrical fire tore through the original MGM Grand, killing 85 people, the deadliest disaster in Las Vegas history, and the reason every resort on the Strip now carries liability coverage that costs millions before a single guest ever checks in. The math gives you a guaranteed top line. Everything below it is a fight. That fight has a small number of repeat patterns, and almost every famous Vegas casino collapse traces back to one of two mistakes. Mistake 1: too much debt. In 2008, private equity firms Apollo and TPG took Caesars Entertainment private in a leveraged buyout worth roughly $30 billion. By January 2015, the company's largest subsidiary filed for Chapter 11, carrying $18.4 billion in debt, one of the largest bankruptcies in gaming history. The casinos themselves, Caesars Palace, the Flamingo, Bally's, kept running fine the entire time. Guests barely noticed anything had changed. It was the debt sitting on top of the business, not the business itself, that collapsed. Mistake 2: wrong product for the market. In 2014, developer Sam Nazarian spent $415 million converting the aging Sahara into the SLS Las Vegas, a sleek, modern property rebuilt to pull in a younger, hipper Southern California crowd. Old Vegas nostalgia, out. Boutique cool, in. It lost $123 million in its first 9 months alone. The younger crowd never fully showed up, and the regulars who loved the old Sahara had nowhere left to go. 5 years later, in 2019, the new owners tore the SLS branding down off the tower and brought the Sahara name back, along with a $150 million renovation to undo what the rebrand had done. If you're spending hundreds of millions on the Strip, know exactly who is supposed to walk through your doors before you ever break ground. Step back, and the economics here are strange. A casino has the most reliable revenue engine in business. No other industry can predict its top line this cleanly. A restaurant doesn't know how many tables it'll fill tomorrow night. A Strip casino knows almost exactly how much its slot floor will hold this year, within a % or two. And yet Vegas operators go bankrupt at rates that would embarrass a tech startup. Why? Because the math only works at scale and over time. The house edge is fixed. You can't raise it in a bad year, which means everything sitting on top of that edge, your debt, your costs, your timing, has to also hold up. The mathematical foundation is bulletproof. Everything built on top of it isn't. And the Strip's own skyline is a graveyard of buildings that proved it. Towers that sat unfinished for over a decade before anyone figured out how to make the math work again. So, real numbers. 2 scenarios. Scenario 1, an $80 million locals casino. Annual gaming revenue around $25 million. After operating costs, real profit lands around $5 million a year. Payback in roughly 16 years. Steady, recession-resistant, unglamorous. The kind of casino nobody makes a documentary about. Scenario 2, a $2 billion Strip mega resort. 3,000 hotel rooms, more than 100 tables, thousands of slot machines. Annual revenue around $1.2 billion. And here's the detail most people miss. Only about a third of that comes from gambling. The rest is rooms, restaurants, shows, and convention space. A modern Strip resort is barely a casino anymore. It's a resort that uses gambling as the loss leader to pull people through the door. Net profit after everything, roughly $300 million a year. Payback in 6 to 7 years. Survive that long and you become something specific. Kurt Kerkorian never gambled on the casino stage. He built the stages. Starting in the 1960s, this 8th grade dropout and former wartime pilot built the world's largest hotel in Las Vegas 3 separate times. The International in 1969, the original MGM Grand in 1973, and the current MGM Grand in 1993, the last one rising less than a mile from where the first one had burned. He became known simply as the father of the mega resort. By 2008, his fortune had climbed to roughly $16 billion. So if you're still thinking about buying a Las Vegas casino, just remember the oldest rule on the Strip. The house always wins. Just make sure you're the house.